I'm Nolan Beilstein, and welcome to another episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing, a podcast where I interview young people about their journeys in manufacturing, how they intend to influence the industry, and what they are looking for from an employer. For this episode, I welcome Jake Collins, a 30-year-old senior applications engineer for Boston Micro Fabrication, a company that specializes in micro-precision 3D printing. Collins has a background in materials engineering with bachelor's and master's degrees from Auburn University. He transitioned from nanotechnology research in school to a quality engineering role at commercial water product maker Elkay Manufacturing, where he gained deeper experience in design and engineering. He then moved into additive manufacturing at BMF, where he has spent nearly 5 years helping customers apply the company's 3D printing technology. Before we hear from Collins, please make sure to like and share this episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing. To view previous episodes, visit manufacturing.net. If you are a member of Gen Z and would like to discuss your experience in the manufacturing industry, please get in touch with me, Nolan Beilstein, at nolan@ien.com. All right, Jake, well, thank you for joining a new episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing. To start off, I was wanting to ask you, how did you discover Boston Micro Fabrication?
So it's actually kind of an interesting story. I was previously in just, more of a traditional manufacturing role as a quality engineer. And I always knew I wanted to move into the additive manufacturing side. And I was actively working on a couple courses on the side while I was still working there. Ended up reaching out and getting connected with the technical director at the time at BMF, and they had an open role. So I interviewed with them and ended up getting the job and starting there. But I hadn't seen it on LinkedIn or anything like that. I would never have known about the role if I didn't have that direct conversation with him. So that's really how it started. It kind of like a non-traditional path instead of, the standard apply on LinkedIn, hear back from a recruiter.
Do you think methods like the one you just described is becoming more common, or are people still trying that traditional route?
I think so. I think it's becoming more common, at least once you're in the industry, especially, just because with a lot of people, like you typically see on LinkedIn, 1,000 applicants for a job. So it's a lot harder to get those traditional paths of just reaching out to a recruiter. I think there's a lot more competition that way. And you might get lost in the shuffle, whereas just being able to talk to those individual people, show your skill set compared to other people is a little bit easier to kind of make a better connection.
You've mentioned that you worked across research, quality engineering, additive manufacturing, so a pretty wide variety. Do you think younger workers get a little frustrated when companies try to lock them into one narrow role?
I think so. A lot of it comes from, older generations. You typically have like a standard career path. You're going to start at one company, you're going to progress through the ranks and stay at that company for potentially your whole career. You don't see that nearly as much with younger generations. It's a lot more job hopping, I feel like, which I personally think that's actually better. You get more of a diverse, broad set of skills, can look at things different ways, approach problems from different viewpoints, being able to pull from the quality engineer side and traditional manufacturing has helped me on the additive manufacturing side, even though the roles are very different, being able to look at it from that lens, I think has definitely helped me. And I think a lot of people would be able to do that more, with the non-traditional paths and more job hopping and having a little bit more out there roles.
So with you saying that job hopping might be a little more beneficial, how has BMF been able to keep you around?
So with that, it's a lot of being able to, it's a smaller company, so kind of wear many hats. So getting that experience, I'm able to kind of do different tasks within, like, in not just a standard engineer role where I'm locked into one kind of aspect of it. I work across the sales team as well. I work with operations quite a bit, work with the materials R&D team. So I'm able to pull those experiences and get new skills constantly, which I think really helps. That's typically what you would be changing jobs for. But I'm able to get all those skills and grow with the company as well. So that's why I'm still here, because it's always, every day is a challenge and a new challenge. So it's always a new way to learn new skills.
When young workers start to feel that their curiosity is being boxed in, what signs should employers look for that they're becoming a little disgruntled?
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes down to, potential just when you're not as happy with the role, you're not working as hard, like you'll be able to tell which is the level of enthusiasm when you're taking on tasks, somebody who doesn't like that job anymore or just feels boxed in, they might not be offering up, hey, I'll take on a new project or let me try something different. They might not say that, but you can kind of feel that they get a little more disconnected from the role they're currently in, and almost don't try as hard.
I think previous generations, they kind of had the mindset of you do what you're told and you don't raise any questions, you don't
Mhm.
have any objections. But I think the younger people are shifting away from that mindset. Do you get the same sense?
Yes, yeah, that's definitely where, older generations, you would have that same viewpoint of even if you didn't 100% love the role you're in anymore, you stick it out because there's job security there and you stay and maybe work your way into a different role in that same company. Typically with the younger generation, if you don't like that role anymore, you're going to move to a different company, and you're going to job hop much more quickly, I think, than somebody from an older generation would, you know, cut and go to a different company right there. They typically, in my opinion, stick it out much longer, even if they're not happy with that role.
You mentioned earlier mentorship, and I was kind of curious, what are some examples of mentorship you appreciated throughout your career?
Even at BMF, everyone is great there and has been very good about, if they have an idea or, think that something could be done a different way, everyone talks to each other and is constantly bouncing ideas off of each other. So I think a lot of that, maybe not traditional mentorship, but being able to talk through problems and pull your own experiences into a new problem and challenge set has definitely helped a lot. And a lot of people come from more diverse backgrounds there as well. So being able to kind of pull that past knowledge to tackle a new problem has been really helpful. And I think that's kind of where that, mentorship, maybe not traditional mentorship, but more like collaboration has been very helpful for me at least.
I've had people on this series before say that Gen Z wants more ownership earlier in their careers than older generations are used to getting. How do you think companies could effectively train young workers in the way you're describing without kind of holding their hand through the whole process and giving them a little liberty?
Yeah. So with that, I mean, there's a certain level of you need to kind of hold hands when people are first getting experience, but you kind of have to trust them a little bit to let them take on new projects where they might not be fully ready for it, but that's where you learn the best. That's where you grow the most is having to step up and learn new things, try new methods and kind of take ownership of new projects. Being able to do that, I think is one of the biggest things. So being allowed to do that a little bit more with less of that siloed approach and less of the hand holding once they have the experience to do it, would be super beneficial for a lot of people.
They've also said that understanding the why is an important part
Mhm.
of the job rather than just saying, go do this job. Why do you think that younger people are more interested in understanding why something needs to be done than older workers might be?
I think kind of what you already touched on is, that older generation, the mindset was I do my job, I keep my head down, I might not ask questions, even if I have them. And this younger generation, I feel like there's a lot more back and forth, especially because most of the older generation are the people giving those tasks. So there's a little bit more of that disconnect of culture of, the younger people want to know why, which I think is really beneficial because knowing why you're doing something helps you kind of tailor your approach to it. But I think the younger generation, a lot of it just comes down to you want to understand your job and how meaningful your work is and your role in that work. So being able to ask those questions helps flesh out where you fit in and how you can improve and actually be beneficial to everything.
How often have you been told in your professional experience what to do without an explanation of why you're doing it?
Honestly, not very often, which I'm very thankful for. Everyone here at BMF is very helpful with that. We kind of walk through what we're trying to do before we do it. So if I take on a new project and it's a new material that we haven't used before, and we go, okay, well, we have to deliver this part, or we're going to try to deliver the best part possible with this new material, we always walk through what the purpose of that material is, why they specifically need it, that whole application, so that I have a better idea and the engineering team has a better idea of why we might be pushing harder on this than we probably would have if we were just told to make those parts in that material. We kind of have a feeling for what the customer is trying to accomplish more and where we fit in there. And if we can accomplish that specific goal, makes it feel a lot more meaningful for us as well.
You mentioned that job hopping is more common now. What do you think separates the companies that attract young workers from the companies that struggle to keep them? What are the qualities, or what's the difference in qualities there?
I think a lot of it does come down to allowing people to grow, not keeping them siloed in. Typically, one of the things that I feel like with Gen Z and probably with older generations too, but not having so much of like a micromanager, not having someone breathing down your neck of, okay, you need to do this project and this project and this project. You can have a little bit more freedom and flexibility of taking the ownership of that project and going your own way with it, as long as you accomplish the goal that you set out to accomplish. There's many different ways to get there. Being allowed to do that, test out new skills, face new challenges, I think keeps the work environment more interesting. So you don't get bored as easily. I think that's a big portion of it as well. There's probably a lot of people who are really good at their jobs, but they get bored at it. And that's when they start to job hop as well.
I think some older workers can mistake job hopping for a lack of loyalty. So how would you describe what goes through the mind of a young person that's looking for that next opportunity to the older people that they're struggling to understand why we think this way?
Yeah. So I think that comes back to, typically with the older generations, you stay at one company, you have your job loyalty because you know that you have a 40-year career there and it's always going to be stable. Part of it nowadays is job stability is a lot less stable than it used to be. So people are always kind of on edge a little bit more. And going from job to job is essentially a good way if you're sitting there and going, I can't grow anymore with this company, or I'm siloed in, I'm locked in, I can't try new things. That's when people start looking at new jobs, as opposed to, sometimes trying to do that within the company. If you're getting boxed out by the company itself, by the managers, you don't really have another choice if you want to grow your skill set. I think that's a lot of it, is people are willing to leave the company to grow their skill set and try new things if the company's actively kind of preventing them from doing that by staying there.
Do you think young workers care more about climbing a ladder or getting more experiences?
I think it's a lot more on the experience side now, and especially with non-traditional roles that there might not be, and in manufacturing there might not really be like a corporate ladder to climb, especially in manufacturing roles where you're looking at engineering or like actually manufacturing, being on a shop floor or anything like that. There might not be a traditional path to that. And having more experiences typically will help in the long run. So I think a lot more people are focused more on just gaining a diverse skill set and then focusing in on what you actually want to do. And I think that's also very helpful when you're younger, is have a couple different jobs at a couple different places so you can kind of start to narrow in on, I really like this aspect of this job, this aspect of this job, and then tailor the rest of your career towards what you actually enjoy and what you enjoy from experience.
When Gen Z people are the ones who are executives and calling the shots, what do you think the manufacturing workplace is going to look like?
I think it's going to be more, I want to say creative to a certain extent, a lot less siloed. It's going to be more cross-functional, less maybe traditional roles where, you're called an engineer, and all you do is engineering. It's going to be a lot more, okay, well, maybe you do some portion of the engineering side, you do some portion of the sales side, a lot more of a fluid kind of team versus like segmented teams of engineering, sales, operations. I think that's going to be a big portion of it because that's how younger people currently like to work. And I like to work, as being able to work with different teams as well. So I think as younger people progress into those higher roles, everything that they like doing is going to be what they kind of push for the next generation, which the next generation might not like that either. So there might be a whole new subset of, difficulties between, the culture shift for the next young generation.
Yeah. Before you know it, the Gens will be saying Gen Alpha doesn't like to work or doesn't want to work hard.
Yeah, exactly.
The endless cycle. Thank you for watching Gen Z in Manufacturing. Please make sure to like and share the episode. To view previous episodes, visit manufacturing.net. If you are a member of Gen Z and would like to discuss your experience in the manufacturing industry, please get in touch with me, Nolan Beilstein, at nolan@ien.com.